Hi everyone, it's Fitz with the Power Talk from here in the Cats and Dogs studio. Kansas State loses at Iowa State 29-21. We've got Ryan Gilbert and Cole Carmody up in the frigid weather of Ames, Iowa, covering the game. So I'm back here in the Cats and Dogs studio, and I got to tell you something, I'm kind of glad I didn't go. That was a defining performance by Kansas State. I'm going to be really blunt here. Uh, Iowa State wanted that more. They were more exact in how they performed. They made fewer mistakes. There were so many things, little things that K-State does wrong, they can't win. And it's something these coaches need to clean up for next season, or certainly for the bowl game. The first play of the game was kind of defining of where K-State is right now. The play should have worked, but the play wasn't executed properly. And it ended up being a fumble. Maybe it was a forward pass, but it was so poorly executed. And no, it wasn't Avery's pitch. If the pitch is going forward, your running back's in the wrong spot because he's supposed to be right there. And you could see Avery all of a sudden realize he wasn't where he thought he'd be. He was ahead of the quarterback. I'm not throwing Dylan under the bus. I'm just trying to explain that those little things added up. A blown coverage here, touchdown. Another fumble, touchdown. Kansas State used to fight to the very end to really go toe-to-toe with anyone, even if they were maybe outmatched in size or talent, and they'd fight you. And they'd win quite often. They did that this season at Colorado. It was a good Colorado team, and K-State did whatever it needed to do to win, including making the decisive play. And then it just seemed to evaporate. Over the last half of the season, I don't think this was a very good football team. In fact, they were 7-1 and ended up 8-4. And they lost some games in there they shouldn't have lost, including this one. And I truly believe that. That's not to take anything away from Iowa State. I didn't think Iowa State was very good. I thought Rocco Becht wasn't at his best. K-State stopped the run until late in the game. This game was set up for K-State to win, but the two turnovers were just brutal to their chances. And then another botched field goal. This is special teams U. And this crap we saw happen in special teams this year is intolerable. Intolerable. You could make an argument that special teams cost K-State 2 games. And that's not who K-State is. Iowa State has taken the mantle of the blue-collar fighters in the old Big 12 North. That used to belong to K-State, and K-State used to do it to Iowa State. Now Iowa State does it to K-State. Tough talk, I know. I'm very frustrated by what I saw because there's really nothing overall wrong with this team. There's nothing systematically in the program that is failing. It's just the pieces weren't put together very well. And it comes down to the coaches. It really does. I don't know if Chris Klieman will make any changes, and I'm not calling for any. But I think the coaches need to do a lot of self-assessment here. I didn't feel like this team improved. And I don't feel like we saw anything groundbreaking as the season went on, any new wrinkles offensively or maybe defensively that made a difference in any of the games. They kind of showed who they were early in the season, and that's who they were. And as teams scouted K-State, learned more about K-State, K-State didn't have answers. We'll see what bowl invites Kansas State. My thought is I don't really want it to be the Liberty Bowl again, but that might be what they deserve. Again, though, Iowa State was just the better football team. Even though they weren't playing that well, they weren't screwing up. Now there's talk about some players hitting the transfer portal, and I think we'll see players hit the transfer portal. There's a lot of changes coming in college athletics, and I think it'll be reflected on rosters all over the place. It could be a very interesting offseason for K-State in many ways. I don't know what the changes need to be right now as I sit here post-game. You're going to have to give me more time on that. But I'll say this. There needs to be a whole lot of self-reflection. And whether it's players, coaches, or staff members, is everything being done to get teams ready for games? And everything. Because I just don't feel like this was a well-polished team by season's end. This team didn't get better as the season went on. It regressed. And that's not the K-State way. To get outplayed, to get out it wanted, because Iowa State wanted that more. K-State played hard, but they didn't play well. And they didn't look like they were really chiseled into anything that looked like a powerful football team by season's end. If your team was best in the middle of the season, which K-State I think was, then they are at the end. Some soul searching needs to take place. PowerCat podcast, post-game podcast, might be just me. I don't know who's available. 10 a.m. tomorrow. We intended to do it on Saturday night. I'm having some computer issues, and we decided to push it back because I wasn't convinced my computer would keep running. Stay tuned to Go PowerCat. We will call them like we see them, and it could be a very interesting offseason. And I'll be at K-State basketball tomorrow after the PowerCat postgame podcast, 10 a.m., live on YouTube and X. We'll see you there.